Prof, a very good evening to you and thanks for your time. Give us some idea as to how you're addressing these problems at the varsity at the moment.
First of all, you are quite correct to indicate that this is an off-campus residence. The university has residences, but because of the large number of students, the university has had to get into partnerships with the community to ensure that the students who come from far away places can have access to university and to live nearer. But as you may imagine, the university has little control on the type of residence that the students get. And the student who was shot in that off-campus residence. But what is important is that the university is now moving towards forming into a partnership with these off-campus residences for a number of reasons. First, to establish the standards that would be befitting, because we found that most students get exploited. They live in conditions that are subhuman, or what some people may even call hovers, because people are taking advantage of that. But what the Department of Higher Education has done, because it has recognized the need for those campuses, for those off-campus residences, but also as part of creating a university community where the community also gets invested in the university. Yeah. It has said, let us put a set of standards where people who are providing those services can work with the university in partnership. And then the university can then insist on certain criteria and standards that needs to be met. And we are already developing that process, and it's almost advanced. Not so long ago, I had a meeting with prospective business people who want to get into that, and I was telling them that these are the conditions that they must meet. So that's the first thing that has to happen. And that also includes issues of security, it includes issues of the space, it includes reading lamps and all that you'd expect from the university room. But we should also acknowledge another element, which is what we're dealing with. We're having a social crisis in our society, and that social crisis will manifest itself in our residences, because, or even our universities, because institutions of higher learning are social institutions. So you cannot expect a society that is violent to breed or bring about students who are not prone to that. But it's something that we're managing.
And Prof, one of the things that we're trying to do... ask you, sorry if I can interrupt you there. We have a lot of the students in their protests complaining that, because the University of Zululand is in the area that it is in, nobody really cares. They also say that there have been reports that female students are raped in the toilets, and this happens often. So I have to ask, why has it taken so long for the university to actually think about safety for students?
Like it's taken so long. These are things that are being dealt with, but as you know, that the legal system and the process of prosecution takes its own time. And the concerns that they're raising are concerns that society has actually raised. But from the university side, there are a number of processes and interventions that are in place. One is that of making sure that we increase the number of guards, but we are also talking to students around how we can make it easy. We are trying to create avenues of safety where students can walk freely. We are trying to create a violent-free environment where students can learn and know that they can go to classes, they can go to libraries in the evening, but that is not without challenges, because, as you know, the point that you raised, that even the external environment in terms of number of police, we do not have that, but we are getting into a partnership with the police who have actually come. But we're also saying the police should not come to campus when there is a process, when there's violence. We're simply saying there should be proper police community forums that are functioning. We have to work with Amakosi in this area. We have to work with the province. We have to work with the national commissioner, and the minister of police has also been here to try to address that issue. So it is yes, when you are affected, you may see that things are not addressed as much as you would like to see them. But today I had a meeting with some of the students to try to deal with that, to say, what is it that we need to do ourselves, because this violence is between students as well. We need to ask, what type of society What type of students do we have where they can turn on each other like that?
And what's happening with the protests at the moment? What is the situation in terms of classes and the disruptions that you've experienced?
Well, there are two elements, if you were following the media quite well. What the students were raising, they were raising two elements. One is the institutional challenge, and one is the national challenge. Our students were saying also to us that how come when there is a tragedy that has taken place at universities like Zululand, we don't see such attention as it is actually given when something happens at UCT or happens at VETS. Remember, when there's a problem of fees at places like VETS, it becomes a national problem. When they happen at the UCT, it becomes a national problem. But when it happens at a place like Zululand, it simply gets noted. And the student was also raising that issue. And one of the things that they want to do is also to raise this to the level where the politicians can actually see that we also are children, but we're not children of a lesser God. So it is important that the same attention, and it becomes unfortunate that the students resort to these measures. But what I was able to try to put across to them is that while their concerns are legitimate, when they engage in acts of violence, they begin to delegitimize their very concerns that we also support, that we do want to make sure that there is equal treatment in the law, there's equal treatment in law enforcement, and there should be the same concern that is actually raised. Remember, when something happens at a place like UCT, you see ministers, you see concerns, but when it happens here, our students says, maybe we need to embark on this. So some of this, you must also understand that there's always, because we've been students, some people who take advantage. So we need to make sure that these concerns are not hijacked for other purposes.
Yes. Okay, thanks very much for that. University of Zululand's Interim Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Professor Sipho Siepe, saying they're having meetings with various stakeholders to improve safety and security on campus. We'll continue to keep an eye on that story.